Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for those incredibly kind words. It is an incredible honor, and I will say that the teachers of Maryland are some of the best teachers in the country. I know that now for a fact, so that is very exciting. All of you will be a part of that, hopefully, if you're joining the Maryland school system. This is such an honor for me to be invited to speak to all of you today, so I just want to thank the School of Education for extending this invitation. First of all, congratulations, y'all. That's super exciting. Graduation is a big deal. And that's always a big deal, but when you spend 2 to 3 years of your undergraduate experience navigating the complexities of a pandemic, there is something very real to be said about that. There are very few educators who are in classrooms right now who understand what it means to be a student and a learner in this environment. So you all have gone where none of us have been. You understand, just like Brianna said, you understand resilience and survival in a way that we couldn't comprehend. And that really means something right now, because what a time to be a teacher. What a time to be a teacher and live under the fear of hearing the firing of gunshots down the hall from your classroom. 21 families in Uvalde, Texas are living through a nightmare that should have never manifested into a reality. And they are coping with survival in a way that I hope no one in this room ever has to comprehend. And my heart right now is just so full of feelings that I haven't had a chance to work through yet, because I don't know how you process, how you can carry the grief of 19 children and 2 teachers. But what I've been continuing to wrestle with over the last few days is, what are the stories of the students who survived? And what happens when they have to go back to Robb Elementary and go back to what was supposed to be a safe place? How do we make space for those students to show back up in school buildings? And how do we honor their trauma and their suffering and their challenges while also attempting to educate them? So this is my 7th year in the classroom, and what has become so clear to me this year more than ever is that every student has a story. I can remember when I was in the 3rd grade of Miss Moyer's class, and like the majority of my experiences in school, I was the only Black student. And I remember choking back tears as I tried to explain to her how the other girls in the class were treating me. And at 8 years old, I didn't quite have the language to say that I knew they were treating me that way because I was the only Black girl, and I knew that something felt off, but I knew I had to tell her something, right? And I remember going to her, and I'm holding tears, and Miss Moyer looked down at me, and she was like, Brianna, I think you're just overreacting, and I think you should be glad to just be making friends. And so I was, and I kept pushing, and I didn't speak of it again. And we all have an innate and human need to be heard, but sometimes the classroom can be silencing. And now more than ever, our students are showing up with stories that need to be told, and there are no better people to hear those stories than those of you who are graduating and those of you who are sitting in this room. Because you have lived through all of these moments. You've lived through the racial and social unrest of the summer of 2020. You've lived through yet another mass shooting within this month, just alone. You've lived through a global health pandemic that has claimed the lives of over 1 million Americans. And you've lived through what has been arguably the most turbulent and chaotic time that any of us hopefully will ever experience. And you all have your own stories, and at some point, we've all needed someone to listen to us. So as you prepare to step into classrooms in the fall, think about what stories are going to show up in September. But most importantly, think about how you will make space for them. Because what will be true of students now and in the future is that everyone's story includes a teacher. All of us here, graduates, professors, family members, deans, all of us can remember one teacher who's made an impact on us. All of us have been shaped by a teacher who saw us and empowered us, or were shaped by a teacher who failed to meet us where we were. So what kind of teacher are you going to be when you show up? What part will you play in the stories that your students choose to retell? And the beautiful thing is that right now in this moment, just by making this decision to step into a classroom, you are already doing it. You are doing the work that is worth doing. So as you begin to prepare for the fall, remember that this work is hard work. Let your work be rooted in love and compassion for your students. Listen to them, see them, value them, make space for them to show up carrying whatever they may be carrying with them, and find a meaningful way to be a part of their story. Thank you for choosing this profession. This is so important. You are doing the best work in the world. I promise you that it will turn out to be the single most impactful decision that you choose to make. Continue to do good work, and congratulations.